Hey guys, Jev here, bringing you all another guide. Today's topic, the Feral Druid patch 4.3. We're going to do our best to keep this one short and simple, so let's get started. Let's begin by discussing the stats of a Feral Druid. Agility is one of our strongest stats and cannot be reforged into, so we should get as much of it as possible. In some cases, it is okay to use items with strength on them, but only if you are replacing your current gear with a significantly higher item level piece of gear. These next stats are not arranged in order of priority and have almost the same DPS value. Critical strike rating gives our abilities a chance of dealing extra damage and to grant us an additional combo point if spec'd properly. This stat can be found more useful at lower levels of gear. Mastery increases the damage of our bleeds and is found to be more useful in an encounter where you are able to dot up multiple targets. Haste increases our energy regeneration and our melee attack speed, resulting in more trinket procs and more Omen of Clarity procs. This stat can be found more useful at higher levels of gear. Hit rating will reduce the chance to miss on a target. The hit cap is 8%, but is not mandatory to reach because every time we miss, 80% of our energy spent is refunded. The only ability that does not benefit from this is Swipe, making hit rating a greater stat for swipe spamming. If you are constantly missing on a target and this affects your rotation greatly, then you can always add a little more hit rating. Expertise rating is the exact same as hit rating, but instead of reducing the chance that you will miss, it will reduce the chance that you are dodged. This stat becomes stronger in an encounter where you are only able to DPS in front of the target and not behind. The expertise cap is 26, but is also not mandatory for the same reason as hit rating. Next, let's talk about gemming. The only time we match the socket bonus is if the bonus grants us at least 17 agility for every non-red socket on that piece of gear. For example, if you have 3 yellow sockets on a piece of gear and the bonus is 30 agility, simply take every non-red socket, which in this case is 3, and multiply it by 17. 3 times 17 equals 51. The bonus is only 30 agility and not 51, so we ignored the socket bonus by gemming 50 agility in every socket on that piece of gear. If you are using non-epic gems, then you would multiply by 14 instead of 17. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about how you should gem if the bonus is worth gemming. For every red socket, you should have 50 agility. For every yellow socket, you should have 25 agility and 25 of the next best stat that suits you best. For every blue socket, you should have 25 agility and 25 hit rating. And last, for your meta socket, you should have 54 agility and 3% increased critical effect. Next, let's talk about your enchants. For your head slot, you should have 60 agility and 35 haste rating. On your shoulders, 50 agility and plus 25 mastery rating. On our back piece, 22 agility or plus 65 crit. On our chest piece, plus 20 to all stats. And for your bracers, plus 50 agility. On your gloves, 65 mastery rating. And don't forget to add a belt buckle. This will allow you to socket an extra gem. On your legs, 190 attack power and plus 55 critical strike rating. And on our boots, plus 35 agility. For your weapons, you should be using 130 agility. Next, let's talk about reforging. First, you must pick your favorite secondary stat based on your gear and knowledge. After that, pick your second favorite stat. Now ask yourself this question: does the piece have your favorite secondary stat? If it doesn't, then reforge into that stat. But if it does, ask yourself this next question: does the piece have your second favorite stat? If it doesn't, reforge into that stat. But if it does, then there's no need to reforge because the piece has both your favorite and second favorite stat. If you are having a hard time deciding which stats to reforge into, you can always use Mu to assign accurate values to your stats based on your current gear for the purpose of reforging. Next, let's talk about the priority rotation of a Feral Druid. First on the list we have Fairy Fire. This ability should be used if there is no armor debuff present. Mangle, but only if there is no bleed debuff on the target. This ability also generates combo points. Ravage if your Stampede buff is about to fall off. Avoid using this ability at 100% energy. Ferocious Bite with 5 combo points if it will refresh Rip. Ferocious Bite will refresh Rip if used on a target with 25% health or less, 60% with the tier 13 2-piece. Rip. This will cause our targets to bleed for damage over time and should only be used with 5 combo points. Refresh this ability every time it falls off or if there are at least 2 seconds remaining before it fades. Rake. This will cause our target to bleed for damage over time and generates combo points when used. Keep this up at all times. Savage Roar. This increases our auto attack damage by 80%. We can keep this ability up with 1 or 2 combo points every time it falls off. Ferocious Bite if you have 5 combo points. Last on the list we have Shred, which is our main source for generating combo points. If you aren't able to use Shred for any reason, go ahead and use Mangle instead to generate combo points. Next, let's talk about your cooldowns. Tiger's Fury has a 30-second cooldown that will increase all of your damage by 15% for the next 6 seconds. This ability will instantly restore 60 energy when used if spec'd properly, so it's best to use this when you have 35 energy or less. Note that any new bleeds applied during this time will last for the entire duration of the bleed. Berserk has a 3-minute cooldown and will decrease the cost of all of your abilities by 50% for the next 15 seconds. You cannot use Tiger's Fury during Berserk, so it's best to use this ability when Tiger's Fury is on cooldown or immediately after using Tiger's Fury. That about sums it all up. If you found this video to be helpful in any way, don't forget to subscribe, like, favorite, or even comment down below if you have any questions about the video. If you would like to view the spec and glyphs that I highly recommend, then go ahead and click down below in the description box, and remember, friends don't let friends do bad DPS, so spread the word.